webinar. My name is Anna Poświata, and I'm so glad to see you today. Please let me know on the chat if you can hear me, if you can see me. So I know that we have everything, that we are on the top of the game. Yes, thank you, Anil, for letting me know. Hello again. So glad to see everyone. Please let me know on the chat, where are you from? Are you a PT, OT, or our distributor? To here to get even more knowledge that you already have. So yeah, good morning, Alexandra. Hello, Diana. Hello, Alexander. Yes. Hello, Paloma. Good. It's great to see everyone today. Thank you for spending this morning or afternoon, depending on your time zone, with me today. And we will begin shortly, just a couple organization things. We will go with questions at the end, at the usual style. And if you will have, welcome, Professor from Switzerland. Good to see. Minik, wow, Indonesia. Good to see everyone. So again, if you have any questions, please write down them on chat or in the question and answer section, and we will go through them at the end. Yeah, good. Perfect. Okay, so let me share today's presentation on the EMG-triggered functional electrical stimulation. Good. You can also let me know if you can see the presentation right now. Hello, Belgium. Hello, Czech. And if everything is on the screen, we can start right now. Good. Okay, so today's topic is EMG-triggered functional electrical stimulation and the usage of it in neurorehabilitation. And my name is Anna Poświata, and I'm the physiotherapist, and I work with technologies for over 17 years right now. And I can tell you that throughout those years, a lot of things has changed. And we're working better with our patients using the technology, but there's still a little bit of the gap between the education that we get in college and the actual work we're doing with patients. So we're always trying to fill this gap with giving you, the latest research, giving you the experience that we have with patients, and just inspire you for even more effective work with patients. And today you will learn what is EMG-triggered functional electrostimulation and which parameters are important for you, and what the study says on it, and how to adjust the sequences for your neurological patients for upper and lower limb. So this webinar was also inspired by our latest update, where we gave you the opportunity to do it from the scratch, to adjust it even more to the patients. And this is usually what we do. So, we give you the tool, you tell us what else you would need out there. And that was one of the things that you really wanted to go take to another level, to create your own sequences. So that's how we decided to also meet with you guys here today, to show you how it could be done, give you some more inspiration on it. And so what is it, right? I mean, you guys probably already know a lot about EMG, because we talk about EMG on our webinars a lot, to really see the muscle activity of the patient, right? When muscle, when the brain sends the signal to the muscle, and we can really read it with the electrodes on the surface. But, the EMG was usually for sport therapy, for gait analysis, but now it gets more and more popular in neurorehabilitation, because we make it easier for you guys to use or other manufacturers. And then that way the EMG is not this, scary thing that only movement scientists use. And also because we can right now use the electrodes that you don't need to really prepare the skin for them. Because for like a gait analysis with EMG, you had to shave the patient and all of that. And now you can just grab electrodes and just put it on the patient and you're ready to go. So, and also talking about this electrostimulation electrodes, now we can use them to two things, right? So we can use them both for reading of the EMG and for stimulating, right? So that gave us the opportunity to combine those two things. So first, the patient is activating the muscle, and as a response to that, we are giving the functional electrical stimulation, so the stimulation in the sequence, and to perform any movement and promote this kind of movement. Those electrodes have this special thing out there that makes the current even more like nice for your patient, right? So it kind of has this net here that that makes the current goes very nicely into the muscle and really grab the muscle. So EMG and electrical stimulation during the same training, and the patient is in charge of that stimulation. So why is it important for therapy to combine those two? First of all, because the study says this is effective post-stroke protocol. So why not to use something that works, right? And we already also know that it's more effective than functional electrical stimulation by itself, and especially promoting upper limb rehabilitation. So that's something that we would really like to push, right? We know that upper limb rehabilitation is a hard one. So whatever we could use with our stroke patient can be of a benefit to the patient. And again, we can make it even more effective, and that's what study also confirms, when we combine it with the specific tasks. And we, since we have this EMG component, we need to, it requires the cognitive involvement by the motor cortex. So all of that makes the therapy more effective, and we can, work with our patients. So which parameters are important when setting, this kind of therapy? Of course, we will discuss, as usual, as we talk on our webinars, on the parameters of the current, why we're using these parameters and not the other ones. And of course, frequency is one of the top parameters in the stimulation. And for functional electrical stimulation, the study confirms that 35 hertz is the one that you want to use for motor training. Different frequencies are used for different goals of the therapy. So we know that low frequencies will be, towards more like a relaxation, better muscle oxidation, and things like that. But the ones between 20 and 50 would be the one that will increase the muscle tone and strength. And again, the 35 is good for functional electrical stimulation. And the obviously intensity, right? What we want to achieve is the muscle contraction, because we want the patient to really get this stimulation and move the arm, support the movement of the lower limb. So we need to increase the intensity. So obviously more we increase the intensity, more we engage the motor units. But also what we see that we will firstly stimulate or activate the type 2 motor units, and then the type 1 motor units. This is the hypothesis that that's how it works. Not everybody agree on that. Some researchers say it's just more random. But that's what also some research says, that it will be first the fast twitch and then the slow twitch. That's maybe because of that, sometimes we get more fatigue with our patient with electrical stimulation. But when we see the fatigue, then it's a good moment to take a little break, right? And especially with the same stimulation, if the twitch is lower, weaker, then it's a moment to take a break. But we don't want to go with the intensity too much, right? Whatever we are getting closer to 40 or 50, that's like already a lot. So what we can do, we can change the pulse width, right? So we have different width of the impulses. So the usual that we will use for functional electrical stimulation is going to be between 200 and 350. So, but if we don't see a good twitch, then we can always increase the pulse width, and this will help us get the good contraction with the lower intensity. Also for upper limb, it will be a little bit shorter. For lower limb, it will be longer. So you can play a little bit with those parameters if you see that you're not getting the right contraction. So, but again, why we're doing it? Is it neuroplasticity or is it the structure that we're aiming for? So what study says, of course, we always wanted to start with that. So that was this study talking about the protocol for a patient. This was stroke patients again. So 8 weeks, 40 minutes per day with 4-channel EMG, EMS on the affected limb. And they took 9 patients after stroke to work with the task-orientated exercise and with cups stacking. So what they did, they stimulate the wrist and finger extension, the finger flexion, arm abduction, and elbow extension. So more like this kind of movement. And at least one of those muscles had to start the movement. And they use 35 hertz, and they use 200 microseconds, and they use 10 seconds of the contraction, and then 20 seconds of relaxation with some ramps, 3 seconds up, 3 seconds down, and all of that trying to be between 15 and 30 milliamperes. And what they found out was that there is actually a link between the neuroplasticity and this kind of approach, because not only they had additional recruitment in the sensory motor cortex, but also an increase in synaptic efficiency. So based on that, they've seen that there is influence on neuroplasticity. And they also find out that this approach is quite good for those that have deficits from mild to moderate, right? So not the one that are very severe. And they also seen that functional tests were connected with this cortical excitability. So they put this link together. And also that this approach is the best for patients who are able to activate, obviously, their muscles and to start the movement. So that approach would be the best for this kind of group. And so this is one of the study. The second study that I like a lot is the one that talks about the higher perfusion in the cerebral cortex when we're doing the EMG-triggered FES, right? And even if we compare some voluntary activity, and regular electrical stimulation and EMG-triggered FES, then the biggest perfusion is during the EMG FES stimulation. And last but not least, there was also a study that was comparing this kind of approach, but not using electrical stimulation, but using TENS during the exercises. And they compared which one was more effective, the EMG FES or TENS during the exercises. And what they found out that it's not, because you would think, maybe that's the current, it's all good, especially that we associate TENS with reducing pain. But in this case, the pain of the shoulder was lower after the EMG FES stimulation, and the range of motion also was higher in that group. So it's not like current. It needs to be the electrical stimulation and the right parameters and combined with the EMG. Yeah, but what about the structure? Do we work with the structure at the same time? Well, obviously, right? I mean, it's the stimulation. It's especially it's interesting when you're working with the upper motor neuron injury, and it's because it will allow you to reverse the conversion of the type 1 fibers to the type 2 fibers, which is usually the case in those patients. And by activating even more motor units than during the regular activity of the muscle in those patients, in neuro patients, we will build the muscle strength. And, we will also try to get to the prevent of atrophy, improve the muscle tone, and just reduce spasticity at the same time and stimulate function, right? So in that case, we would say it's neuroplasticity, but it's also the structure that we work at the same time. So what can be the application on the upper limb, on the lower limb? So let me remind you that there is still a program that you can use out there in the Stella BIO device, in our case, where everything is set, right? So you will have the which muscle with those picture, where to put the electrodes, which muscle is the one that is starting the movement, and that way you can stimulate the hand-to-mouth exercise by 4 channels, and starting it with the extensors of the wrist and towards the mouth, right? And if you put everything right, the hand will move by itself with those parameters. So that's the one that you can use, and it's in the software. Also, a similar one can be the one that helps your arm extension during the transfer. So the patient will be able to transfer from the wheelchair or from one chair to a bed, right? So then you will also use a predefined program that is in the software. It tells you which electrodes put where, and the patient needs to start the movement. But as I said, you ask us for more freedom, which is great, to give you some opportunity to change the parameters. And you didn't really want it to do it like by clicking, setting some timing and everything. It was supposed to be easy, right? So what we did, we gave you the graphic representation of each stimulation that you can just drag on the screen and move on the stimulation line. So yeah, I asked each of our teams in EGZOTech here to show how they are using these programs. And here is the experience from the German team. So you will see the German software language. We have different languages on our software, so everyone can feel, all good with their software. So here we're doing the 2-channel stimulation, flexion, extension of the wrist. We're choosing the right stimulation intensity for both of those channels, and then we can work with the muscles. So here you can see how it can be dragged. extended the phase of the activity, how we can move the whole thing to the right. So we can, for example, do the flexion, extension at the same time. We can even overlap those stimulation a little bit. We can make it nice, so it's not like really going very fast, but just having this phase where it can go down a little bit, right? So yeah, and then when we stimulate, here you have the stimulation, just stimulation. In that case, we didn't use the EMG, but the approach is quite the same, right? So here is also the screen where you can test it, right? And when it's good, where it's good, then you can go to the exercise and you can stimulate one side and another, right? So this on flexion and extension. So what I said, that we can adjust also like this phase, right? When you're extending the wrist, but then you would have this going down quite fast. So we would like to have it more, step by step, easy. So that way we would do the ramp down. We can see how it goes with the patient, if it goes up, and then slowly going down, right? So it's more of a functional thing. And here we have example of the application of the stroke patient. So what we did here, we use 4 channels, and we combine two movements, right? When reaching and extending the wrist and then going back. So that can be an example of the sequence that we put together on the stroke patient. Yeah, don't worry. I will send this presentation to you guys. Also, you'll get the recording. So if you would like to go back to those ideas, it will be possible also after webinar. If you're not really sure which muscle should be activated during which phase, don't forget you have a great tool for EMG. So what you can do, you can put those electrodes on, you can try on the healthy side, you can try on yourself. So then you will get the data on which muscle in which moment is actually activating, right? Here, it's the reaching part, but with some extension of the wrist. So the red channel will be quite high. And the other channels will be activating either in concentric or eccentric mode, right? So for stimulation, most of the time, we are using the concentric mode, right? Because we want to stimulate those muscles that twitch, and the stimulation will have that. But we could do also the stimulation of the muscles that are doing the eccentric flick. So, but let me show you that in a moment. So this would be like a reaching and then going back with the hand, so you can see how the pattern looks like. So there are some other ideas for the upper limb as well. So again, with the reaching, you can just do it 2 channels with the deltoid out and triceps just going one direction, and that's it, right? To make it more simple. We can do grasping when we extend the extensors to open the hand, and then biceps and flexor to close the hand and bring it together, right? So 3 channels can be also quite a good option. Or as we saw on the video, we can even go with 4 channels. So in that case, with the deltoid and triceps forward and biceps pulling back with the forearm extensor to keep the hand open, also can be an idea for the functional stimulation in that case. I also put here some stimulation patterns from the research. So what they did here was, reaching, gripping, lateral lifting, and the cylinder objects putting to the different heights. And this is the stimulation they used with 4 channels with patients. I'm not going to lie to you, 4-channel stimulation is the one that you will have to spend some time, looking, trying to achieve what you want. It's not, next patient, but it's a physiotherapy that you're really into the patient's goal and trying to be very precise in what you're doing. And for lower limb application, obviously, what we're always thinking is a gait, right? But let's see what else we could do with this stimulations. So here we can go with the standing up. In this case, 4 channels when starting with the red channel here, and on the quadriceps, and then stimulating, the whole standing up movement. The second stimulation that we could go with is the stimulation of the foot drop, right? We can try it first in sitting. So in that case, tibialis anterior and fibularis would work together first, right? We will look at this pattern to activate with patients, and then we work on both channel also on the movement that it's important for walking. And once we're ready, once we understand when the patient know what's going to happen, we can work it out during the walking, right? So in that case, we will start with the tibialis anterior, and then we will add to this the fibularis muscle. And if you look at the research, you will see that we have this thing that we can get the data from, right? So in the swing phase, it will be tibialis anterior, right? And during the stance phase, the peroneus longus or fibularis, depending which name you prefer, will be the one that will stabilize during the stance phase, right? So again, tibialis anterior during the swing phase, and peroneus during the stance phase. What you can see here also is that we can start with rectus femoris, the swing phase here, right? During the support, and going into the swing phase, we can start with the quadriceps, with the rectus femoris. And this is something that has been tried here during the walking. So, working together with the tibialis anterior, but also the quadriceps as starting the movement, right? And they together in the swing phase, working together here. What you can also do, you can try to work on one channel, and the goal for you would be to try different exercises. For example, in this case, there was a patient after the traffic accident. What they did, they wanted to work on the tibialis anterior muscle, right, to improve the tension of the tension of the muscle, the movement of the ankle joint, and trying to work on just this phase in the form of exercise. Very quick exercise, not many channels, but quite nicely. And what they did later in the walking pattern, they also worked on that, but in that case, they also discuss with patient to be able to hold this movement. So there is a little bit of the eccentric work during this loading response as well. So playing with the stimulation during walking can be quite interesting, depending on your goal and depending on the phase that the patient is in. You can try different approaches. So, other tips in using those functional electrical stimulation would be, the order. We usually start with the shoulder, elbow, the proximal muscles before moving to the distal muscles. And again, there are some pre-programs also for like opening, closing the hand, grasping, that's also pre-programmed that you can use at the very end. You should like make sure the patient is always on board in a way that he's engaging into the movement, thinking about the movement, and then you're able to get this, neuroplasticity component into this therapy. And if you're not, having the contraction of the muscle, try different electrodes, try different positioning. You can use smaller electrodes for smaller muscles to be more precise. We do have like this 3 centimeter electrodes as well that you can try to work, especially with the hand. I noticed that. Let me just go with the electrodes to show you. Yeah, those are the electrodes that we found very good for like a opposition of the thumb, right? So yes, so you can see they're a little bit smaller, so can go quite nicely to the smaller muscles of the upper limb. Good. Yeah, so that would, create the environment with other devices, in our case, robotic devices using EMG-triggered functional electrical stimulation with robotics. So Stella is the one that gives you, the most freedom, right? Because what do you want to do? You want to do the function, you want to do the walking, you want to do different exercises. We always add this the belt to put around your patient waist so he can go with Stella. For those ones who are not familiar, Stella is small, so you're always able to carry it around. And now with also having the tablet like that, with also here, that makes it very comfortable for some functional electrical stimulation. And if you have too many cables, right, always remember about this cable management to make sure that it's not everywhere. But if you, like, most of the time use 2-channel stimulation, you can always just get 2-channel cable, then it will make it more efficient, nicely looking stimulation. And yeah, so that's the idea of always having this environment where you can play around. I know at the beginning it might take some time to find the best pattern, the best parameters for a patient, but again, research is there, we know it's effective, so why not give it a try? And also, I know you guys, like in Australia, you're doing amazing work with that. I know that in UK right now, also they're playing with the new features and enjoying it. So for those of you who already work with that, I actually have a kind of surprise. I mean, if you would like to share any of your patient cases on how did you approach this, which patterns are working the best, how are you doing, and send us some videos with comments that we could also share with the rest of the world, right? Because we know we're right now in 40 countries, and the knowledge is something that we all trying to find the best ideas. If you would share that with me, with our clinical team, then I will just send you a bunch of electrodes to thank you, just throw some other goodies into it. But yes, that would be wonderful to have it from you. Then you can just contact me and let me know you're working on it. That would be amazing. Yes, again, because why not to share something that works. Good. We will go now to the question and answer time. But again, if you will think about something that you want to ask or you want to contact us, write down directly to me. You can, add me on LinkedIn, and we can always discuss and give you some support and things like that. So yeah, always reach out whatever you think you need to discuss stuff. Good. Wonderful. All right. So now would be the time for questions. So let me go through the through the questions, and I see here the questions. So good. So from Matteo, interesting presentation. Thank you. Do we use a single type of electrode that can both record EMG signals and deliver stimulation simultaneously? Yes, we are using, again, let me show you one more time. This is American electrodes from the company called Axelgard. Again, they have this really nice thing in the back that makes it more pleasant, and it will not fall down from the patient, right? Because it just sticks to a patient. Usually you can use it for like around 20 times the same patient, but it needs to be for one patient, right? We are using that so they have their own stimulation. And stimulation electrodes, you can see they have this nice, I don't know, it probably will on the thing that you stick it to this side, and no, not to this side, right? So yes, so that's something that we're using. And for stimulation, the way you need to put it on the muscle is next to each other, right? Like like on the muscle belly, but the same as you would do the stimulation. So you would like to grab the muscle in with the EMG electrodes. You position them very close to each other, like 2 centimeters between the electrodes. And with the stimulation, you can put them a little bit more apart, and it still reads EMG perfectly, because we do have this nice algorithms. The sensitivity, Stella is very precise, so it will catch the activity of the muscle even while using those electrodes. And again, the smaller ones can go quite nicely with the smaller muscles. Different company, but and no net on here, but this is muscle. This is electrodes that have the snap, so they are quite comfortable to use. Yeah. So and and going back to your question, Matteo, also we can, is it possible to record only traditional EMG or high density EMG too? So we're using, for EMG, we're usually using this electrodes. So it's like a one-time electrode that you just stick in and then you throw it away with the liquid gel on them. So yes, you can use it for standard EMG recording. We're mostly using ear RMS recording, so we're not going really into the taking the data out and evaluate it quite a lot throughout the different external programs. We're mostly using it for therapy, but if you want to use it for research, it is possible. But you're at this point using more of CSV data, not the raw data. Again, we can go into details through the emails. Send me an email what would be interesting for you, and we can go through that. Here we had the is muscle type low threshold motor. When you will go, let's go back to this slide here. Again, this is just the hypothesis that the researchers have, that with the stimulation, it's kind of opposite to the regular stimulation of the muscle when we are activating it, right? When we're using the percentage of the motor units recruited, then we start with slow, then fast fatigue, fast fatigue resistant, and fast fatigue at the end. The theory is that we will stimulate the opposite, right? So we will start with the type 2 motor units fast twitch, and then go this direction with the stimulation. That's the theory. Again, some researchers says this is not the case, but a lot of say that's the case. And some more questions. Can Stella BIO be used at home without supervision? Well, yes. I mean, if you would have it with patient in the office, in the PT office, show them how to use it, then you can just rent it to them, and then they can use it at home. And in the software, you can look what the patient actually did, how it goes. It is registered for home use, so you're safe there. Yeah, and that this is the way you could work with your patient. There's an interesting question. How long did it take for EGZOTech team to create and validate the app interface? We're building Stella for right now 5 years, and we're constantly improving it, constantly changing. You guys are giving us the best feedback we could dream of, and then we always try to we usually do the software update once a quarter. It's free, and you're just going online and you're having the latest games, latest revision of the software, new features, all of that can be done. And is the interface the same for the home use? Yes, at this point, it is like that. We used to work a little bit more with telemedical accounts, then it was a little bit different. But unfortunately, telemedical environment is not expanding that quickly as we wish to. So we kind of back out for now from those ideas. Maybe we'll go back to them later on. At this point, it's just the same software. Good. Anything else? Technical questions? Are you exploring methods to remove or bypass FES-induced artifacts with mask whole EMG in order to reliably detect when voluntary EMG activity drops and stop the stimulation? Where that's a different technical approach. It's usually good only for two-channel electrodes, channel devices. For channel devices right now, you're not able technically to do it. I can double check it for you, and again, let me know with the email. I can double check. But right now, since we can read the beginning of the movement, because when the electrical stimulation kicks in, the EMG reads the stimulation, right? So that's technically with four channels at our systems not possible. Again, I heard of some technologies, but they were using, I think, only two channels. Good. Yes, I think we got the question parts. Okay, there is one more. The gait rehabilitation. How do devices recognize the different gait phases to understand properly which muscle needs to be stimulated? Well, it doesn't, right? It's us to be able to adjust the movement to the stimulation. So we are setting a pattern, and then we walk with the patient, and each step is starting with the EMG activity, right? So we need to adjust properly to the phase with the patient. So each step can be started from the EMG of the patient, but the gait phase is us to adjust based again on those graphs that I showed you. Again, we don't have to work with all muscles at the same time. We can start with only the ones that are not the best activity or foot drop, or we would like to maybe stimulate more of the quadriceps during walking to stabilize the knee a little bit better. So again, it's like with everything, we first start with the goal, then we think how the tool can help us in that case, and then we adjust. So this is a lot about adjusting to the patient, about creativity, and about thinking how we can just work as precise as we can. Good. Let me quickly go through some chat, if there contains any more questions. But I think we kind of cover a lot. Okay, I see one more about the spasticity. Oh, okay. There are two more questions and we're done. The last I will answer with the emails. But thank you a lot for your, for being so active and for such a big crowd today. It's amazing. So quickly, let's go through the maybe with the Luna, you need to work with the EMG electrodes because there is a question about the robotic device, and those are single use, right? So for Luna, it will be single use electrodes. For Stella, you can use those stimulation electrodes. Good. And it can be used in Turkey. Yes, it can. Let us know on the email. We will, let you know more details. And FES can sometimes make spasticity worse in stroke. How does Stella handle that given it's an EMG-triggered FES? What kind of built-in algorithms of searches does it use to fine-tune stimulation and avoid triggering more muscle tone or spasticity? Well, I don't see that happen a lot with the patients. I'm rather seeing the relaxation of the muscle during our stimulation, because I think what is important with our device is that we are building our stimulation from the scratch. We are looking at the patterns of stimulation on the screen, and it's very, I would say, clear. We're not using cheap generators for stimulation. Actually, when you can look at them, they are very messy. We are building our signal from the scratch, and it needs to be exactly how the European medical directive is discussing it. So we need to comply with all of that tests, and we have audits every year, and they're checking if we're complying with all the safety requirements. So that's how we're doing it. Yeah. So, but there is not any specific built-in program for avoiding spasticity. We do have some interesting of those in the robotic devices where we need to stop the robot from for pushing if there is spasticity, but not like in the stimulation. Good. Again, I'm glad that you have so many questions. I believe we could be here for a long time. Always a pleasure to meet with you guys. Thank you, Frank, for being today. Thank you, Matteo, for such amazing questions. Dr. Rama, thank you so much. I'm so happy that we have such an amazing crowd always on webinars. And of course, again, I will share the presentation with you. We will put the recording out there on our website, so you can go back to it anytime. And yeah, I'm really crossing my fingers for all the work with neurological patients, pushing the physio forward with technology, hopefully with our technology as well. And let me know, say hi on LinkedIn, and I hope to see you on our next webinars. Thanks again, guys. Bye bye.